Now we review Locked. Ugh, a one-word title. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I saw Locked more than a week ago, but I was in the hospital, so I guess you can excuse me for not reviewing it. Locked is a movie about, Bill Skarsgård as Pete Davidson playing Aladdin. I mean, there's no genie involved, but, Aladdin. He's a guy he's a good dude. He steals to survive, but he's a good dude. That's who he is. I mean, you're shown that he's a good dude, but he needs money. His car is not working. He needs money for the mechanic. He's stealing what he can to try and get money for the mechanic so he can pick up his daughter from school. He has a daughter who's kind of, he's not been the best dad. He's divorced or whatever, separated. He's trying to be the dad, but I mean, life is getting in the way. A lot of us can really relate to this character. He's done some bad things because he lives in a bad world. But I mean, he's not a clean person. He's not a smart person. He still buys his energy drinks. It's like, dude, just go home and make coffee. But I don't even know if he has a home. And he's running around trying to make his money. And he happens to run afoul of high-end Tobin Bell from Saw in the form of Anthony Hopkins, who incidentally has played some of the greatest serial killers who have ever lived. I was in the hospital, guys. Just run with it. And, you've got Anthony Hopkins, one of the greatest villains who ever lived, villainous actors, and he's playing this sort of Tobin Bell character of a doctor who suffered a tragedy, and now he wants revenge on bad people, because he's going to die too. He's got the Tobin Bell situation. So he has created, I think it's a Bentley, it's this really beautiful, wonderful car, and he parks it in terrible neighborhoods, and people, try to steal it, and then they get locked inside, and he, tortures them. Yeah, that's your movie. I have to admit it was very enjoyable. I'm with Skarsgård's character the whole time. It's like, no matter who you are, no matter what you've done, do you really deserve to be locked in a car, blasted with terrible music, and starved and dehydrated? That's one of those questions that comes up, like, what is the appropriate punishment for crime? And this is a person, we could tell by certain aspects in the movie that the villain of this piece is the kind of person, he's out for blood. He likes to hurt people. He hurts people because he's a hurt person. Hurt people hurt people. And whereas you cannot sympathize with this man's character and his decisions, you can kind of understand, I mean, here it is, you've got this death car he's created, it's got all these special features, and it's bulletproof, and it defies the laws of physics at some points. But, one question that one might ask is, instead of building your death car, Mr. Dr. Man, have you considered maybe donating to charities who might, prevent other people from having these tragedies? He's wealthy enough, and given this person's age, it does raise the question, how old was he when the tragedy did occur? Because the tragedy involves family, and it's like, this is Anthony Hopkins. I believe he's in his 80s or something. He's an older gentleman, and it's like, yeah, dude. I mean, when did this happen that you just, how long have you been this hard baked? He don't get me wrong. Hopkins puts in an amazing performance of just being a person who is so So he has no more fucks to give. I mean, that's who he is. I have no more fucks to give. I am going to go and do these things because society, like literally, go ahead and arrest me. I've got nothing to lose at this point. All of my money means nothing. All of my training means nothing. All of the things I've done in my life, it all means nothing. I've got only so much left in my life. And I'm basically going to be Batman for the rest of my life, or at least my sick, twisted version of it. That's Anthony Hopkins. And his utter reserve, it's Anthony Hopkins-esque. I mean, it's exactly what I would have expected from this character, from this actor. He's a phenomenal character. Skarsgård's performance, again, like I thought it was Pete Davidson. I thought it was a completely different actor because primarily the voice, the look, just he became Pete Davidson, and Pete Davidson is a guy I know as a drug addict and a person with some personal demons, and that's one of those things. Like I don't feel bad about. I mean, I sympathize for Pete Davidson, but I just also have to point out that he's probably a lot better off than I am. So 6 1/2 dozen together. Anyway, so as we examine this as a general thing, there's a lot of sort of ironies in this particular film. Like there's one point where the guy's shouting at the window of the car and somebody comes up to do their makeup in the reflection. And it's like, yeah, okay. Great contrast there. Very well made, Like I say, everything about this film, it's really well made. It's kind of on the done side. I mean, how do you really bring something like this to life? This is a guy, he cares about his family, the Skarsgård's character. He cares about his family, but he's living in a bad environment. So he's a product of his environment, okay? But this is a story as old as time. I mean, like I say, Aladdin. He's a thief. He steals to survive. He's not a bad person. He's never expressed as a bad person. But he's trying to survive. And, this is not a man without skills, but it's a man in an environment where these skills are simply worthless. It's one of those things about it's like becoming a mechanic. You can't be like, okay, I'm going to become a mechanic. Find me a job working, like doing like oil changes and things. No, it's you spend a lot of money. Like I knew a guy who actually had a mechanics course. It was a 6-month emergency mechanics course. And he said, I could take apart an engine and I could put it back together, but I couldn't put it in a car. So this is one of those guys with those kind of skills. He's got the skills, but he's not got the formal training, and he's got no way of getting that formal training because he lives in a toxic environment that our society has created. So yeah, on the one hand, poignant, proper. On the other hand, what is it we're supposed to take away from this film? So, where does Locked fall? I mean, you've got 2 great actors doing a wonderful job. It's a solid performance and you're with it the whole time. I have to say that Locked belongs in the upper half of your watch list. It is a wonderful film, okay? It is not a film that, to me, is going to stay with me because I've just seen it so many times and I'm asking myself, what do you take away from this? That wealth and fame don't mean anything? I mean, well, I guess it will stay with me, maybe. I don't know. When you created like the Saw franchise, the original Saw was a masterpiece. It was a great movie. And this is Saw in a car. So, yes. But the original Saw left Jigsaw's motivation to be a mystery. We don't know why he did what he did. And then, like so many torture porn films afterwards, we finally saw, okay, this is why Tobin Bell's character, Tobin Bell is such a great name for a killer, isn't it? Is like this, all right? This is why he does this. So now in this film, you have, it's a complete and total story. There's no room for a sequel, although it's, there's possibilities that, this guy could have crawled out. It's always there. There's always that possibility of a sequel. I mean, if it makes enough money. But yeah, Locked, it's a solid film. It's going to keep you, it's going to pull you in and keep you with the characters. And I have to say, belongs in the upper half of your watch list. I definitely enjoyed it. You know, I mean, I guess the thing about it is I wanted something more. I don't know what that more was. And that's what separates this from being upper half of your watch list to being a must watch. So yeah, Locked. Great film. Powerful movie. A lot of good points. I would go see it if I were you. I'm Richard.
Greetings, humanity. I'm Randall the Rat, and I'm here to remind you that, well, you should probably comment, like, and subscribe now. And why? Well, the world isn't all that great, and Random Street Theater here is trying to change it. We do things like have trash removed from the ocean, pay for trees to be planted, and even feed orphans. And you can help. You can comment, like, and subscribe, and it's free. When you think about it, if you don't do those things, well, what are you saying? Are you saying you don't care about the ocean and trees and even orphans? Well, sounds like you're a bad human. And you have a delicious face.